Hello students, welcome back. In this video, we shall learn lesson number 9, heat. Heat is a form of energy. It can flow from one place to another, which is called transfer of heat. Science defines heat as the flow of energy from a warm object to a cooler object. All matter contains heat energy. Heat is transferred by modes called conduction, convection, and radiation. Let's learn one by one. Transfer of heat. When we take a hot object in the vicinity of a cold one, the cold object becomes warm and the hot one becomes cooler. From this, we can infer that heat is transferred from a hot body to a cold body. Transfer of heat means the flow of heat from one place to another. Types of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation. First one, conduction. Transfer of heat from a hot part of a solid substance to its cold part is called conduction. For conduction of heat, a medium is required. It means heat cannot be conducted in vacuum. Conduction of heat takes place in solid substances. Second mode of transfer is convection. In liquids, heat is transferred by means of convection. When heat is applied at the bottom of a container, water at the bottom warms up first. As warm water has lower density, it moves upwards and it is replaced by the surrounding cold water. Owing to difference in density, currents are formed and heat is transferred. Such transfer of heat by means of currents is called convection. Convection of heat also requires a medium which may be in liquid or gaseous form. In liquids and gases, heat is transferred by convection. Third is radiation. Transfer of heat by means of electromagnetic waves is called radiation. It does not require solid or liquid medium. In space and vacuum, heat is transferred by radiation. Radiation may occur even in the presence of solid or liquid medium. When heat waves fall on an object, a part of it is absorbed and rest is reflected. When heat rays fall on an object, a part of the heat is absorbed by the object and a part of it is reflected. The ability of a substance to absorb heat radiation depends on its color and also its intrinsic properties. Good and bad conductors of heat. Students, there is a simple experiment which you can easily try at home. Like place a steel spoon, a copper strip or rod, a divider from your compass box, a pencil and a plastic ruler in a glass beaker. Pour some hot water into the beaker. Wait for a while, then touch the outer end of each of the objects. What will you find? You will see that some substances are good conductors of heat while some are bad conductors of heat. Heat is easily conducted through a copper strip or pot, but not through plastic or wood. We can hold a glass tumbler or china cup full of hot tea easily in our hand, but not so a steel or copper cup if the same tea is poured into them. Solids which conduct heat easily are called good conductors. Example, copper, iron. And those which do not conduct heat easily are called bad conductors of heat. Example, wood, plastic. Expansion and contraction of a solid substance due to heat. We can conduct a simple activity for this, and the apparatus required for this are a metal ring, a metal ball, a burner, etc. So take a metal ring and metal ball of such size that the ball just passes through the ring. Heat the ball and check whether it passes through the ring. Now let the ball cool down and check whether it passes through the ring. This experiment tells us that metals expand on heating and contract on cooling. Solids expand due to heat and come back to the original state if heat is removed. However, the extent to which different solids expand is different. Next is expansion and contraction of liquids due to heat. For this, the necessary apparatus are 500 ml conical flask, 2-hole rubber stopper, glass tube, measuring ruler, thermometer stand, wire gauze, burner, graph paper, etc. Now let's see the procedure. Fill the conical flask completely with water, insert the glass tube and the thermometer in the 2 holes of the stopper and fit it to the conical flask. Observe the diagram shown over here. Heat the water and with the help of the ruler, record the water level in the glass tube after every 2 degrees C rise in temperature. Take about 10 readings. Observe what happens when heating is stopped. When a liquid is heated, the distances between its particles increase and its volume too increases. This is called the expansion of liquids. When its temperature falls, the liquid contracts. Next is expansion and contraction of gases due to heat. For this, the necessary apparatus are glass bottle, balloon, hot water, etc. Now let's see the procedure. Fix a balloon on the mouth of a glass bottle. Hold the bottle in hot water. What happens? The volume of a gas increases on heating. This is called expansion of the gas. On the other hand, on removing heat, the volume of the gas decreases. This is called contraction of the gas. Thermos flask. You might have seen a thermos flask used for keeping tea, coffee, milk, etc. hot or a sherbet cold for a long time. What is its structure and how does it function? Let's see. This is a double-walled flask. It consists of 2 glass tubes, one inside the other with the gap between them sealed. The surfaces of both the tubes are made shiny by a silver coating. The air between the 2 tubes is removed to create a vacuum. There is a protective jar of metal or plastic outside the tubes. For the protection of the flask, pieces of sponge or rubber are fixed between the outer jar and the flask. Now let's see the function of the thermos flask. When a hot substance is placed in a thermos flask, the heat going out gets reflected due to the shining surface of the inner tube. Hence, heat is not radiated. Neither conduction nor convection of the heat occurs because of the vacuum. As a result, heat is not transferred to the outer cooler region and is retained inside for a long time. Still, a little heat is lost from around the lid and by a small amount of conduction through the glass. Therefore, the hot substance does not remain as hot after 2 or 3 hours. So, this is the function of the thermos flask. Now students, you have to draw this diagram properly in your classwork. It is there in your textbook, page number 63, 9.8. So students, in this way we have completed the lesson. You have to read the lesson carefully and solve the exercise given in your textbook on page number 63. And you also have to complete the related activities in your science activity book. Have a good day. Study well and take care. In the next video, we shall learn a new lesson.